I say to you, the whole world is a cosmic madhouse, and the people you call your leaders are merely the most successful lunatics. You were born in a prison without walls. You grew up in it. You fell in love in it, and you will die in it, all while calling it freedom. To be normal in this sick society is not a sign of health. It is the ultimate proof that you are well adjusted to a profound insanity. Stop trying to fix the world. You cannot fix a graveyard. Your only responsibility is to wake up and escape before the doors are locked from the inside. The matrix is not outside of you. It is the very structure of your borrowed mind, a cage built with the bricks of tradition, religion, and fear. My beloved ones, I see you, and in seeing you, I see a tragedy that is so vast, so deep, that most of you have even forgotten how to weep for yourselves. You have come here seeking something, perhaps a little peace, perhaps a little truth, or perhaps just an escape from the boredom of your lives. But before we can talk about truth, I must tell you something very bitter. Truth is the greatest offender. It does not comfort you, it shatters you. It is not a lullaby to put you to sleep. It is a thunderbolt to wake you up. The first thing you must understand, and understand it with your whole heart, is that this earth is not a civilized world. It is a massive, sprawling asylum. The people you see walking on the streets, the people sitting in the parliaments, the priests standing in the pulpits, they are all part of a collective madness. You are living in a prison that has no walls, and because you cannot see the walls, you believe you are free. This is the ultimate trick of the matrix. A prisoner who knows he is in prison can escape. But what can you do when you think your prison is your home? What can you do when you have decorated your chains with diamonds and you call them ornaments? If you feel the weight of these words, if you feel a spark of recognition in your soul, then I invite you to stay with me. This journey we are taking together is a rebellion. It is a journey from the marketplace to the heart. And if you find value in these words, if they touch a chord in your being, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell. It is not just about a button. It is about staying connected to a frequency of awakening. Share this video with those who are still sleepwalking. Let us create a ripple of consciousness in this ocean of unconsciousness. The society in which you are born is not interested in your health, it is interested in your utility. It wants you to be a robot, a machine that functions efficiently but never asks why. It wants you to be a Christian, a Hindu, a Mohammedan, a communist, but it never wants you to be yourself. From the very moment a child is born, the pruning begins. In Japan, they have these ancient trees called bonsai. They are hundreds of years old, yet they are only few inches tall. They are beautiful in a twisted, crippled way. How do they do it? They keep cutting the roots. Whenever the tree tries to grow, they cut the roots. They don't allow the tree to reach the sky. They don't allow it to fulfill its destiny. This is exactly what the priests and the politicians have done to you. They have cut your roots. They have made you a bonsai human being. You are a midget in your soul because you have been taught that obedience is a virtue and doubt is a sin. I tell you, doubt is the beginning of intelligence. Doubt is the first ray of light in the darkness of your conditioned mind. To keep this light burning, to keep this rebellion alive, we need each other. If you feel that this work is important, if you want to support the spreading of these insights to every corner of the world, consider clicking the join button to become a member of our community. Your support through super thanks or by exploring our ebooks helps us continue this mission of awakening. It is a way for you to participate in this global transformation. You think you are living, but you are only being lived. Look at your life. Is it yours? Your thoughts are not yours, they are borrowed. Your morality is not yours, it is imposed by your parents and your teachers. Your religion is not yours, it is an accident of birth. If you were born in a different house, you would be praying to a different God. You are a collection of imprints, a bundle of memories. You are like a computer that has been programmed. The psychologist says you have a personality. I say you have a mask. The word personality comes from the Greek word persona, which means a mask used by actors in a theater. The voice comes through the mask, but the actor remains hidden. You are not your personality. You are that which is hidden behind the mask. But you are so afraid of the void, so afraid of the emptiness inside, that you cling to the mask as if it were your life. The world is a fire, and everyone's life is in danger. But you are busy bargain hunting and flat finding. You are busy in the marketplace worrying about skinheads and supermarkets. You have forgotten that you are a stranger here. You have forgotten that this world is a caravanserai, a temporary stay. You are acting as if you are going to be here forever. This is the madness I am talking about. A sane man would be in the marketplace, but not of it. He would use the world, but he would not allow the world to use him. He would be a sannyasin in the middle of the crowd, but you have become part of the marketplace mentality. You are constantly comparing, constantly competing. You want to have a bigger house, a faster car, a more famous name. And while you are chasing these shadows, life is slipping through your fingers like sand. Stop for a moment. Just for a moment. Drop all your knowledge. Drop all your scriptures. Drop all your borrowed wisdom. What are you? If I take away your name, your profession, your nationality, your religion, what remains? This what is the truth, but you are terrified of it because it feels like death. And it is a death. It is the death of the ego, the death of the robot, the death of the machine. Only through this death is the new man born. The new man is Zorba the Buddha. He is a man who can dance, who can sing, who can enjoy the simple pleasures of the earth, the food, the wine, the love, but whose head is high in the stars. He is a man of meditation and a man of celebration. Up until now, the world has been divided between the materialists and the spiritualists. The materialists are blind. They can dance, but they cannot see. The spiritualists are crippled. They can see, but they cannot dance. I want to bring them together. I want you to be a whole human being, not a fragmented one. To be whole means to be aware. But awareness is difficult. It is much easier to be a robot. A robot doesn't feel pain. A robot doesn't feel the agony of choice. A robot just follows the program. And the society has programmed you so deeply that even your rebellions are part of the program. You think you are being a rebel by wearing certain clothes or listening to certain music. That is just another fashion, another market. Real rebellion is internal. It is the realization that I have been living a lie. And when this realization happens, you don't need to fight anyone. You don't need to go to the barricades. You simply walk out of the prison. The doors are not locked. They have never been locked. You were simply holding the handle from the inside, afraid to let go. If you are enjoying this deep dive into the essence of our existence, please take a moment to leave a comment below. Tell me, what is the one wall in your life that you are ready to tear down? Your engagement helps this message reach more people who are searching for a way out of their own invisible prisons. Remember, every like and every share is a blow against the walls of the matrix. The priests tell you that you are a sinner. They want you to feel guilty, because a man who feels guilty is easy to manipulate. A man who feels guilty will always be on his knees. He will always be looking for a savior. But I tell you, there is no savior outside of you. No Jesus, no Krishna, no Buddha is going to come and pull you out of your misery. They can only point the way. You have to walk the path. And the path is not outwards. There is nowhere to go but in. You have tried going to the moon. You have tried going to the bottom of the ocean. You have tried going to the ends of the earth. Have you found peace? No. You have only found more restlessness. Because the problem is not where you are. The problem is what you are. You are carrying your hell within you. Even if I put you in heaven, you will turn it into hell within 24 hours. You will start looking for a supermarket or a flat to buy. You will start wondering if the other angels have better wings than you. The ego is the architect of your prison. It is the ego that says, I am special, I am separate, I am better. This ego is a fiction. It is a shadow. But you have spent your whole life feeding this shadow. You have sacrificed your joy, your love, and your silence at the altar of this ego. Why? Because the society needs egos. Egos are competitive. Egos are aggressive. Egos are perfect soldiers and perfect consumers. A man without an ego is useless to the state. He cannot be led to war. He cannot be convinced to buy things he doesn't need. He cannot be frightened by the threats of hell or seduced by the promises of heaven. He is free. And a free man is the greatest danger to any establishment. That is why they poisoned Socrates. That is why they crucified Jesus. That is why they have been trying to destroy me and my people for years. Because truth is the greatest offender. But I am not here to give you a new belief system. I am here to take all your beliefs away. I want to leave you in a state of not knowing. Because only in the state of not knowing is the mind quiet. Only when you stop seeking answers do you begin to hear the music of existence. This music is always there, but your head is too full of noise. You are constantly talking to yourself. You are a chatterbox. Even when you are sleeping, the chatter continues. This internal dialogue is the glue that holds your prison together. It keeps the matrix running. To break it, you need a technique. You need meditation. But don't make meditation a chore. Don't make it a new to-do list. Meditation is simply the art of doing nothing. It is the art of being silent, of being a witness. Just watch your thoughts as if they are clouds passing in the sky. Don't judge them. Don't try to stop them. Just watch. As you watch, a miracle happens. The watcher becomes separate from the watched. You realize, I am the awareness in which these thoughts are appearing. This realization is the first crack in the wall of your prison. And once the crack is there, the light of the sun will enter. And once you have tasted that light, you can never go back to the darkness of the cave. To support the continuation of these teachings and to help us reach more seekers, you can use the Super Thanks feature below the video. Your generosity allows us to keep this flame alive in a world that is trying its best to blow it out. Also check out the ebooks linked in the description for a deeper dive into the science of the soul. These are tools for your liberation. People often ask me, Osho, why is the world in such a mess? The world is in a mess because you are in a mess. The world is just a reflection of your collective psyche. If you are angry inside, there will be war outside. If you are greedy inside, there will be poverty outside. If you are confused inside, there will be chaos outside. You cannot change the world by changing the government or the economic system. You can only change the world by changing the human being. And the change must start with you. Don't look at others. Don't wait for a revolution. Be the revolution. Become an island of sanity in this sea of madness. It starts with a simple step, awareness. Awareness of your body, awareness of your breath, awareness of your thoughts, awareness of your feelings. Most of you live like somnambulists, like sleepwalkers. You eat, you work, you make love, you talk, but you are not there. You are somewhere else. You are in the past, which is no more, or you are in the future, which is not yet. You are never here now, but life is only here and now. The past is just a memory. The future is just a dream. Both are non-substantial. The only reality is this moment, this breath, this heartbeat. When you start living in the now, the matrix begins to dissolve. Because the matrix needs time to survive. It needs your guilt about the past and your fear of the future. Without time, the mind cannot exist. And without the mind, you are free. You are part of the eternal flow of existence. You are the ocean. But the society has taught you to be afraid of the ocean. It has taught you to stay on the shore, playing with your little sand castles. It has taught you to be afraid of the vastness, the unknown. It wants you to stay in the familiar, even if the familiar is miserable. People are more comfortable with a familiar misery than with an unfamiliar joy. They cling to their suffering because at least it is theirs. I say to you, drop the suffering. It is not yours. It is just a habit. Drop the ego. It is just a ghost. Step into the unknown. It is scary, yes. It is a leap into the abyss. But it is the only way to find your wings. You don't know you have wings because you have never jumped. You have spent your whole life crawling on the ground, complaining that the ground is hard. If you are ready to jump, if you are ready to explore the heights of your own consciousness, then join our inner circle by clicking the join button. Let's walk this path together, supporting each other in our journey toward the ultimate freedom. Your membership helps us create more content that challenges the status quo and wakes up the sleeping giants within every human being. You are not a machine. You are not a robot. You are a god in exile. You are a king who has forgotten his kingdom and is now begging for crumbs in the street. I am here to remind you of your royalty. I am here to remind you of your heritage. You are not here to suffer. You are here to celebrate. You are not here to be a slave. You are here to be a master of your own destiny. But to be a master, you must first stop being a follower. Stop following me. Stop following the priests. Stop following the books. Listen to your own heart. It is the only guide you have. It is the only voice that will never lie to you. Of course, the mind will try to interfere. The mind will say, this is dangerous, this is illogical. Let the mind speak, but don't be swayed by it. The mind is a good servant, but a dangerous master. Currently, the master is the servant and the servant is the master. Your intelligence is serving your ego. Your logic is serving your prejudice. We need to flip it. We need to put the intelligence back in the driver's seat and let the ego sit in the back, or better yet, let it get out of the car entirely. The world is a big fire, as the ancient parables say, and the blind man and the lame man are caught in it. The blind man can walk, but he cannot see where the fire is. The lame man can see the fire, but he cannot walk. They will both perish unless they cooperate. This is the state of humanity. Your heart can see, but it has no legs. It doesn't know how to act in the world. Your mind has legs. It can act, but it is blind. It doesn't know where it is going. I want to create a synthesis. I want your heart to sit on the shoulders of your mind. Let the mind be the vehicle, and let the heart be the vision. When your action is guided by your silence, when your words come out of your emptiness, then you are a Zorba the Buddha. Then you are a whole man. Then the matrix has no power over you. You are in the world, but you are no longer of it. You can walk through the marketplace and not a single shadow will touch you. This is the brutal truth. Nobody is coming to save you. But the beautiful truth is, you don't need anyone to save you. You are already that which you are seeking. You are already the truth. You are already the freedom. You are just looking in the wrong direction. You are looking outside, but the treasure is inside. You are looking for the key in the street because there is more light there, but you lost the key inside the house. Come back home. Go in. It is the only journey worth taking. All other journeys are just diversions. All other journeys are just ways to kill time. But time is not something to be killed. It is something to be lived. And you can only live when you are awake. Are you awake? Or are you just dreaming that you are listening to me? Even this can be a dream. You can dream of being a sannyasin. You can dream of being a seeker. Wake up, look into my eyes, feel my presence. This is not a lecture, this is the transmission. I am trying to share with you my fire. But to catch fire, you must be willing to burn. You must be willing to let your old self be turned into ashes. And this fire, this burning, is not something to be feared. It is the greatest blessing that can happen to a human being, because only that which is false can be burned. That which is real, that which is your essential core, is fireproof. It is eternal. The fire only destroys the cage. It does not destroy the bird. But you have become so identified with the cage that you think you are the bars. You think you are the lock. You think you are the limited space. You have to understand the mechanism of how this cage was built. You were not born as a machine. You were born as a biological miracle, as a blossoming potential. But the moment you entered this world, the manufacturers were waiting for you. The parents, the teachers, the priests, they are all agents of the matrix. They don't want a child who is alive, who is curious, who is filled with the fire of rebellion. They want a good boy, a good girl. And what is a good child? A good child is one who is predictable. A good child is one who obeys. A good child is a robot in the making. Look at your habits. Observe how you live your day. From the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, you are functioning like a well-oiled machine. You say the same things, you react in the same ways, you have the same arguments with your spouse, you feel the same frustrations at your work. You are a bundle of reactions. If someone insults you, you get angry. If someone praises you, you feel happy. You are like a piano. Anyone can come and play a tune on you. You don't have a center of your own. Your on and off buttons are in the hands of others. This is what I mean when I say you are a robot. A machine has no choice. A machine cannot decide to change its program. But you, although you are functioning like a machine, have the potential to become conscious. This is the only difference between you and a computer. The computer is a machine and will remain a machine. You are a machine, but you have the seed of consciousness within you. You can watch the machine. You can observe the robot, and the moment you observe the robot, you are no longer the robot. The observer is separate from the observed. This is the most revolutionary discovery in the history of human consciousness. The distance between the witness and the mind. Your mind is the program. It has been fed with data from the past. Centuries of superstitions, thousands of years of prejudices. It is a very old, dusty, and repetitive program. It tells you who to love, who to hate, what is right, what is wrong. And you follow it blindly because you have been told that this mind is you. I tell you, you are not the mind. You are the space in which the mind functions. But the society has worked very hard to make sure you never discover this space. They have kept you busy. They have kept you distracted. They have given you toys to play with. Money, power, prestige, sex, and they have given you fears to keep you in line. The fear of hell, the fear of social rejection, the fear of God. This brings me to the metaphor of the Japanese bonsai trees. It is a beautiful and horrifying illustration of what has been done to you. In Japan, they take a majestic tree, a cedar or a pine that has the potential to grow 100 feet tall and touch the clouds, and they put it in a small pot. But that is not enough. To make it a bonsai, they keep pruning the roots. They don't let the roots go deep into the earth. When the roots cannot expand, the tree cannot grow upwards. It becomes stunted. It becomes a midget. It looks like an ancient gnarled tree, but it is only a few inches tall. It is a decorative piece, a curiosity. You are all bonsai human beings. Your parents, your society, your education system, they have been pruning your roots from the very beginning. They didn't want you to grow too tall, because a man who grows tall, a man whose head is in the clouds, cannot be a slave. A man who knows his own vastness cannot be part of a crowd. A man who has touched the stars will never bow down to a politician or a priest. The society wants you to be socially useful. And to be socially useful, you must be a midget. You must be afraid. You must be dependent. They have cut your roots of intuition. They have cut your roots of doubt. They have cut your roots of wildness. And in their place, they have given you plastic roots of belief, tradition, and duty. You are living a plastic life. You are eating plastic food. You are having plastic emotions. You are making plastic love. Everything is artificial. And the most artificial thing of all is your ego. This ego is the primary wall of your prison. It is a false center. Because you don't know your real center, you have to create a substitute. This substitute is the ego. It is like a person who doesn't have a real home. So he builds a house of cards and lives in it, constantly afraid that a small breeze will blow it down. That is why you are so defensive. That is why you are so easily offended. When someone says something about you, your house of cards shakes. You have to defend it. You have to prove that you are someone. But why? Why this constant need to be someone? Because deep down you are afraid that you are no one. And the truth is, you are no one. But no one does not mean nothing. No one means you are not a thing. You are not an object. You are not a label. You are a vast, infinite emptiness. And that emptiness is the very womb of God. That emptiness is where the stars are born. But the society has taught you to be afraid of emptiness. It has taught you that nature abhors a vacuum. So you fill your emptiness with junk. You fill it with knowledge. You fill it with possessions. You fill it with trivialities. This is the matrix, a collective hallucination where everyone is trying to be someone, while they are all essentially no one. It is a game of musical chairs where the music never stops and everyone is running around exhausted, stressed, and miserable, trying to grab a seat that doesn't exist. And look at the state of the world. It is a direct result of this bonsai psychology. Because you are not allowed to grow naturally, your energy becomes sour. When a tree is not allowed to grow tall, its energy turns inward and becomes poisonous. That is why there is so much violence in the world. That is why there is so much hate. It is the frustrated energy of billions of people who have been denied their right to blossom. A happy man doesn't go to war. A man who is dancing doesn't want to kill. A man who is in love with existence doesn't want to conquer. It is only the miserable, the crippled, the bonsai people who want to destroy. Destruction is a revenge against a society that didn't allow you to create. Because you cannot be a creator, you become a destroyer. If you cannot build a temple, you can at least burn one down. Then at least people will notice you. Then at least the ego will feel important. This is the brutal truth of your politics. Politicians are the most frustrated people in the world. They are the ones who are most empty inside. So they need the most power outside to cover up that emptiness. And they lead you into wars, into crusades, into revolutions that only change the name of the prison but never the nature of the prisoner. You have been told that you are a social animal. This is a lie. You are a spiritual being who has been trapped in a social cage. The society is a necessity for the survival of the body, but it is a death for the soul. I am not saying you should leave society and go to the mountains. That is just another kind of prison, a prison of isolation. I am saying you should understand the society for what it is, a marketplace. Be in it, use it, but don't let it become your soul. The walls of your prison are made of words. Nation, religion, family, honor, sin. These are not real things. Have you ever seen a nation? You see the earth, you see the trees, you see the rivers, but where is the nation? It is only a map, a line drawn on paper by some crazy politician. But for that line, millions of people have died. For that word, people are willing to kill their brothers. This is the madness. You are living in an asylum where the lunatics have taken over. And because everyone around you is saying the same crazy things, you think they are sane. If everyone in the asylum believes they are a teapot, and you don't believe you are a teapot, they will think you are the crazy one. They will try to cure you. They will try to educate you. They will try to bring you back to the normal reality of being a teapot. This is what has happened to the truth seekers throughout history. They were the only sane people in a mad world. And the mad world couldn't tolerate them. Because their very presence was a reminder of the madness of the majority. If Socrates is right, then the whole of Athens is wrong. That was too much to take. So give him poison. If Jesus is right, then the whole priesthood and the Roman Empire are wrong. That is dangerous. So crucify him. I am telling you, don't try to change the world. You cannot. It is too big and it is too deeply asleep. But you can change yourself. You can wake up, and when you wake up, the world might still be the same, but for you, it has changed forever. The prison is still there. The guards are still there, but you have found the key. You can walk through the walls because you have realized that the walls are made of shadows. To find this key, you must go beyond psychology. Modern psychology is just another way of adjusting you to the asylum. It wants to make you a well-adjusted lunatic. If you are unhappy because you are living a lie, the psychologist will try to help you accept the lie. He will give you a new mask. He will give you some pills to numb the pain. But the pain is a friend. The pain is a signal that something is wrong. The pain is the soul crying out for freedom. Don't numb the pain. Listen to it. Follow it. It will lead you to the roots of your conditioning. It will show you where they cut you, where they pruned you, where they lied to you. And in that seeing, the healing begins. Healing is not something you do. Healing is a byproduct of awareness. When you see a snake in the road and you realize it is just a rope, do you have to do anything to drop your fear? Does the fear go away slowly in stages? No. The moment the seeing happens, the fear is gone. It disappears instantly. This is the power of awareness. It is not a process, it is an explosion. But you are afraid of this explosion. You prefer the slow, miserable process of improvement. You want to be a better robot. You want to be a more spiritual ego. There is no such thing as a spiritual ego. Ego is the absence of spirituality. Just as darkness is the absence of light, you cannot have a brighter darkness. You can only bring in the light. The light is meditation. And meditation is not what you have been told. It is not repeating a mantra. It is not concentrating on a candle. It is not chanting Om. These are just more ways to keep the mind busy. They are spiritual ties. Real meditation is just being. Sitting silently, doing nothing and watching. Watching the breath come in and go out. Watching the thoughts drift by. Watching the birds sing. Watching the feeling of the chair against your body. In this watching, you are no longer a participant. You are a witness. You are the third eye. And this witness is the only thing that is not part of the matrix. It is the only thing that cannot be programmed. It is the only thing that is truly yours. Everything else, your body, your mind, your name, your history, belongs to the matrix. But the witness belongs to the eternity. When you touch this witness, for the first time you will know what freedom is. It is not the freedom to do something. It is freedom from being a doer. It is the freedom of being an oceanic presence. In that presence, all the walls dissolve. The me and you disappear. The inner and outer become one. The society will try to pull you back. It will use your guilt. It will say you are being selfish. You should think about your family, your country, your duty. But I tell you, the most unselfish thing you can do is to become happy. The most revolutionary thing you can do is to become conscious. Because a conscious man radiates peace. A conscious man radiates love. He doesn't have to do service. His very being is a service to existence. A single candle can light 1,000 other candles. But first, that one candle must be lit. You are trying to light other people's candles while your own wick is cold and dark. You are trying to save the world when you haven't even saved yourself from your own misery. This is the hypocrisy of the do-gooders. They are just spreading their own inner chaos in the name of service. Stop. Just stop. Stop the doing. Stop the seeking. Stop the becoming. For few moments every day, just be. Don't go anywhere. There is nowhere to go. You are already at the goal, but you are running so fast that you keep passing it. The truth is not at the end of a long journey. It is right here, under your very feet, but your eyes are fixed on the horizon, looking for a paradise that doesn't exist. The paradise is here. It has always been here. But to see it, you need new eyes. You need the eyes of a child. Eyes that are not clouded by knowledge. Eyes that are full of wonder. The society has replaced your wonder with information. It has given you answers to questions you never asked, and those answers have killed your curiosity. I want to give you back your questions. I want to give you back your not knowing, because in not knowing, the mind is humble. In not knowing, the heart is open. In not knowing, you are ready to receive the mystery of life. Life is not a problem to be solved. It is a mystery to be lived. A problem can be solved by the mind, but a mystery can only be lived by the heart. The matrix wants to turn every mystery into a problem. It wants to explain everything, to categorize everything, to label everything. But the most beautiful things in life are beyond labels. Can you label the scent of a rose? Can you label the beauty of a sunset? Can you label the silence of the night? The moment you label something, you have killed it. You have put it in a box. You have made it part of your knowledge, and knowledge is dead. It is a corpse. Wisdom is alive. Wisdom is a flow. Knowledge is of the past. Wisdom is of the present. The world is full of knowledgeable people who are completely foolish. They know everything about the Bible, the Gita, the Quran, but they know nothing about themselves. They are experts in the cows of others, as the ancient scriptures say. They are busy counting someone else's cattle while they are starving. Don't be a scholar. Don't be a technician of the soul. Be a seeker. Be a gambler. Be willing to lose everything to find yourself. Because what you have to lose is only your chains, and what you have to find is the whole universe. You are a part of this existence. You are not an island. The same air that flows through the trees flows through your lungs. The same salt that is in the ocean is in your blood. You are the universe expressing itself as a human being for a brief moment. Why settle for being a clerk or a doctor or a citizen? These are so small. You are the divine, but you have forgotten. You have fallen asleep and you are dreaming that you are a beggar. And in your dream, you are asking for coins from other beggars. I am here to shake you and say, wake up. You are a king. Your treasury is full. Stop begging. But the beggar is comfortable in his rags. He knows how to beg. He has become an expert at it. He is afraid of being a king because a king has responsibilities. A king has to stand on his own 2 feet. A beggar can just lie in the gutter and complain. This is why people cling to their religions and their ideologies. They are the gutters of the mind. They give you a sense of belonging, a sense of security. But security is a graveyard. Life is insecure. Life is a constant movement from the known to the unknown. If you want security, you are already dead. I am inviting you to be alive. I am inviting you to be insecure. I am inviting you to walk into the dark night without a map. Only then will you find your own light. Only then will you know the thrill of the path. The matrix is a comfort zone. It is warm, it is familiar, it is predictable, but it is a tomb. The door is open. The sun is shining outside. The wind is blowing. Can you hear it? It is calling your name. Not the name on your passport, but your real name. The name that was yours before you were born and will be yours after you die. Listen to that call. It is the only thing that matters. Everything else is just a dream within a dream. Wake up, my beloved ones. The morning has come. The sun is rising. It is time to leave the asylum and walk into the garden. It is time to drop the bonsai pots and let your roots reach the very heart of the earth. It is time to be free. Don't wait for tomorrow. Tomorrow is the trap of the mind. Enlightenment is always now. Freedom is always now. If you are not free right now, you will never be free. Because even when tomorrow comes, it will come as now. You have to make the jump in this very moment. Observe the robot, see the machinery, feel the walls, and in that very feeling, you will find the exit. The exit is not a place, it is a state of being. It is the state of total, unconditional awareness. It is the state of being a Buddha. And every one of you is a potential Buddha. The only difference is that I am awake to my Buddhahood and you are still dreaming about it. But the dream is getting thin. The light is starting to leak in. That's why you are here. That's why you are listening to these words. Your soul is restless. It has had enough of the matrix. It is ready to break out. Trust that restlessness. It is the voice of God. It is the seed of the new man. Let it grow. Let it destroy the old. Let it bring in the new. It is a painful process, yes, but it is the pain of birth, not the pain of death. You are being born into a new dimension of reality. Welcome that birth. Celebrate it. Dance with it. For the first time in your life, be real. Be authentic. Be yourself. And you will find that the universe is not a hostile place. It is a home. It is a playground. It is a celebration that never ends. The prison was only in your mind. The bars were only your beliefs. The guards were only your fears. Step out. The whole sky is yours. The whole eternity is yours. You are the truth. You are the way. You are the life. And when you step out, don't look back. There is nothing to see there. The past is a graveyard. Look forward. Look at the vastness. Look at the beauty. Look at the dance. And become part of it. Become the dance itself. This is my message to you. This is the only truth I have to share. Everything else is just commentary. Everything else is just to keep you engaged until you are ready to hear the silence. Can you hear the silence now? It is there between my words. It is there behind your thoughts. It is there in the very core of your being. That silence is your home. That silence is your freedom. That silence is you. Go into that silence as often as you can. Drown in it. Let it wash away all the dust of the matrix. Let it renew you. Let it remind you of who you really are. And then when you come back to the world, bring that silence with you. Let it color your actions. Let it soften your words. Let it be the light in your eyes. Then you will be in the world but not of it. You will be a light unto yourself. And in that light, the matrix will vanish like a mist in the morning sun. You will be free, forever free. And in that silence, you will discover the most dangerous thing in the world, the truth. Why do I say the truth is dangerous? It is not dangerous to you, but it is the greatest offender to the society, to the church, to the state, and to everything you have been taught to hold sacred. Truth is an offender because it is a destroyer of illusions, and people love their illusions. They have invested their whole lives in them. When you tell a man that the house he has been building for 40 years is made of shadows, he will not thank you. He will want to kill you. He will call you a heretic, a madman, or a criminal. This is the central conflict of the human story. The society is a collective lie, and it cannot tolerate the truth. If the truth is allowed to breathe, the society will suffocate. Look at the history of those who have spoken the truth. They have always been the most hated individuals of their time. Not because they were doing anything wrong, but because they were making people aware of their own wrongness. They were holding up a mirror to a world that didn't want to see its own ugly face. You live in a state of collective sleep. This sleep is not natural. It is induced. It is a psychological hypnosis. From the moment you are born, the sandmen of the society are busy pouring the dust of belief into your eyes. They tell you that you are part of a great nation, that you belong to a holy religion, that you have a certain duty to fulfill, and you believe them because everyone else believes them. This is the truth by consensus. If 1,000 people believe a lie, it doesn't become the truth, but it becomes very comfortable. It becomes common sense. But I tell you, common sense is usually common nonsense. It is just the accumulated ignorance of the ages. To reach the truth, you must have the courage to stand alone. You must be willing to be wrong in the eyes of the world so that you can be right in your own being. This is the first step toward breaking out of the matrix. You have to realize that the majority is always wrong. The majority has no interest in truth. It only has an interest in comfort. And truth is never comfortable. It is a fire. It burns away the chaff. It leaves you naked. The society has given you words instead of experiences. This is one of the most sophisticated ways the prison is maintained. You think you know what love is because you have read poems and seen movies. You think you know what God is because you have read the Bible or the Gita. You think you know what meditation is because you have heard a lecture. But words are just containers. If the container is empty, what use is it? You can keep the word water in your mouth for 1,000 years, but it will never quench your thirst. Yet the world is full of people who are drunk on words. The priests, the scholars, the professors, they are all word merchants. They have a vast vocabulary, but they have no realization. They can talk about light, but they are living in darkness. They can talk about freedom, but they are slaves to their own minds. This is the borrowed knowledge that I am constantly attacking. Borrowed knowledge is a deception. It gives you the feeling that you know without the reality of knowing. And that feeling is the greatest barrier to your growth. If you believe you already know, you will never seek. A man who thinks he knows the truth is dead. Only a man who is a seeker, who is constantly not knowing, is alive. The moment you arrive at a conclusion, you have stopped growing. Truth is not a destination, it is a movement. It is a river that is constantly flowing. If you try to catch it in a bucket, it is no longer the river. It becomes stagnant. It becomes a belief. And belief is the enemy of truth. To break free, you must go beyond the verbal label. You must stop being a consumer of words and start being a discoverer of reality. This is what I mean when I say nowhere to go but in. For centuries you have been told to look outside. You have been told that happiness is in the next promotion, in the next relationship, in the next life. You have been told that God is in the sky, or in a temple, or in a holy book. But all these outsides are part of the matrix. They are the distractions that keep you from looking at the only place where reality exists, within you. You are like a man who is sitting in his house, looking through the window at the distant mountains, while the house itself is on fire. You are so preoccupied with the there and then that you have forgotten the here and now. But the here is the only space, and the now is the only time. Everything else is a dream. When you start the journey inward, the first thing you will encounter is a great fear. This is the fear of aloneness. The society has conditioned you to be afraid of being alone. It has taught you that aloneness is loneliness, a negative state, a sickness. So you are always running toward others. You are always looking for company, for entertainment, for noise. You cannot sit silently in a room for 10 minutes without reaching for your phone or turning on the television. Why? Because in the silence, the mass starts to sleep. In the silence, the ego starts to feel its own emptiness. But I want you to understand the difference between loneliness and aloneness. Loneliness is a state of mind where you are missing the other. It is a state of dependency. You feel incomplete, so you need someone else to fill the hole. Aloneness, on the other hand, is the discovery of your own completeness. It is the realization that you are a whole universe unto yourself. You don't need anyone to complete you. You are already a circle. Aloneness is the highest state of human consciousness. It is the state of a Buddha. When you are alone, you are no longer a social animal. You are a pure presence. You are like a mountain peak, standing tall against the sky. The peak is alone, but it is not lonely. It is magnificent. It is silent. It is free. The matrix cannot tolerate an alone man, because an alone man is unmanipulable. He doesn't need the approval of the crowd. He doesn't fear the rejection of the society. He has found his own center. And once you have found your own center, you have found the center of the whole universe. Because the center of the part is the center of the whole. But you have been taught to live on the periphery. You are like a person who lives on the porch of his own palace, begging for crumbs from passers-by, never realizing that inside the palace there are rooms full of gold and jewels. The gold is your awareness. The jewels are your joy, your peace, and your love. But you have forgotten the key to the door. And the key is meditation. Meditation is nothing but the art of coming back home. It is the process of reversing the flow of your energy. Usually your energy is flowing outwards, toward objects, toward people, toward thoughts. In meditation, you allow the energy to turn back upon itself. You become a circle of light. You simply sit and watch the watcher. This is the ultimate in. And when you go in, don't expect to find a soul or a self in the way the religions have told you. Those are just more words, more labels. What you will find is a vast, silent emptiness. This is what the Buddhists call sunyata. It is a void, but it is a pregnant void. It is the womb from which everything arises. It is the source of all life. When you touch this void, the matrix dissolves. Because the matrix is made of things, of thoughts, of desires, of identities. In the void, there are no things. There is only being. There is only isness. In that isness, you are free. You are no longer a person. You are a presence. You are no longer an actor. You are the theater itself. The world will tell you that this is a waste of time. It will say you should be doing something productive. You should be helping the poor. You should be changing the system. But I tell you, the only way to help the world is to stop being a part of its madness. If you are a madman yourself, how can you help other madmen? You will only make them more mad. You will give them your own prejudices, your own ideologies, your own frustrations. The real service to humanity is to become sane. The real revolution is to become conscious. A conscious man doesn't have to do good. Good happens through him. He becomes a vehicle for the divine. His very presence is a healing. When he walks, the earth feels a little more alive. When he speaks, the silence is not broken but deepened. But this requires a total commitment. You cannot be a part-time seeker. You cannot meditate for 20 minutes and then go back to being a robot for the rest of the day. That is just another game, another toy. You have to make your whole life a meditation. Whether you are eating or walking or working or making love, everything must be done with awareness. Every moment must be a now. This is what it means to be a sannyasin in the marketplace. You are in the world, doing whatever needs to be done, but you are not of the world. You are like a lotus flower in the pond. The lotus grows in the mud, but it is not touched by the mud. It stays above the water, pure and beautiful. You stay in the society. You use its language. You follow its rules when necessary, but you don't allow its poisons to enter your heart. The society will try to prune you again and again. Every time you try to grow a new branch of awareness, the bonsai masters will come with their scissors. They will use your family, your friends, your guilt, they will say, "You have changed. You are not the person we used to know. You are becoming selfish." Accept their criticism as a compliment. If you haven't changed, it means you are still dead. If they still recognize you as their person, it means you are still a prisoner. To be a seeker means to be a stranger in a familiar land. It means to be a mystery even to those who think they know you. Don't be afraid of their judgment. Their judgment is based on their own blindness. How can a blind man judge the light? How can a prisoner judge freedom? They can only judge based on the rules of the prison. But you have gone beyond the rules. You are playing a different game. The most important thing is to keep your eyes on the truth, no matter how much it offends. If the truth offends your ego, let the ego be offended. It is better that the ego dies than the truth be hidden. If the truth offends your religion, let the religion burn. It was only a pile of dry wood anyway. If the truth offends your nation, let the borders dissolve. They were only lines in the sand. You are a citizen of the universe. Your home is the whole of existence. Don't settle for anything less. Don't allow yourself to be pigeonholed into a small identity. You are vast. You are infinite. You are the very breath of God. But to realize this, you must be willing to let go of everything you know. You must be willing to enter the cloud of unknowing. This is the real beyond psychology. Psychology deals with the mind, with the personality, with the masks. Meditation deals with that which is beyond the mind. It deals with the core. The mind is always in a state of conflict. It is divided. It is this versus that. It is me versus you. This division is the source of all your misery. As long as you live in the mind, you will be a house divided against itself. You will never know peace. Peace is only possible when you move from the mind to the heart, and from the heart to the being. In the being, there is no conflict. There is a deep, organic unity. You are at one with the trees, with the stars, with the ocean. You are no longer a separate fragment. You are part of the whole. And in that unity, there is no death. Death is only for the fragment. The whole never dies. It only changes its form. It is a constant transformation. This is the brutal truth that the matrix wants to hide from you. You are immortal. But to know your immortality, you must first die to your mortality. You must die to the robot, to the machine, to the ego. You must let the bonsai tree die so that the giant cedar can grow. The process is painful, I know. I have been through it. Every Buddha has been through it. It is the pain of a seed breaking its hard shell so that it can sprout. If the seed is afraid of the pain, it will never become a tree. It will stay safe in its cell, but it will be a dead safety. It will eventually rot and disappear without ever having lived. Most people are safe seeds. They live and die without ever knowing the joy of the sun, the dance of the wind, the song of the birds. They stay in the asylum because it is safe. They stay in the prison because it is familiar. I am here to tell you, forget safety. Life is not safe. Only death is safe. Life is a gamble. It is a risk. It is a dangerous adventure. But it is the only thing worth having. A single moment of real life is worth more than 1,000 years of safe existence. A single moment of awareness is more precious than all the wealth in the world, because in that moment you have touched the eternal. You have tasted the nectar. The matrix is a dream, and the only way to get out of a dream is to wake up. You don't have to fight the dream. You don't have to change the dream. You just have to realize that it is a dream. The moment the realization happens, the dream is gone. You are awake. You are in the reality. And reality is beautiful. It is not holy in the religious sense. It is just naturally, vibrantly beautiful. It doesn't need your prayers. It needs your presence. It doesn't need your rituals. It needs your dance. So, my beloved ones, start looking inward. Don't be discouraged by the noise you find there. That noise is just the accumulated junk of the society. It is not yours. It is just the matrix chatter. Just watch it. Don't get involved in it. Don't try to stop it. Just be a witness. As you watch, the noise will lose its power. The thoughts will become thinner and thinner. The gaps between the thoughts will become longer. And in those gaps, you will hear the still small voice of your own being. You will feel the pulse of the universe. This is the beginning of your freedom. This is the end of the prison without walls. You are stepping out of the matrix. You are entering the real world. And the real world is a celebration. It is a love affair that never ends. Don't listen to the priests who tell you that life is a vale of tears. It is only a vale of tears because they have made it so. They have poisoned the wells. They have cut the roots. They have turned the garden into a desert, but the garden is still there, hidden beneath the sand. You just have to dig a little. You have to remove the layers of conditioning. And the deeper you go, the more offending the truth will be. It will offend your morality. It will offend your respectability. It will offend your good name. Let it. Who cares about a good name in a madhouse? It is better to be a bad man in a madhouse and be sane than to be a good man and be a lunatic. The saints of the society are usually just the most repressed lunatics. They have mastered the art of hiding their madness under a cloak of virtue. But inside they are boiling with rage, with greed, with lust. I don't want you to be saints. I want you to be wholes. I want you to be authentic. If you have anger, let it be there. If you have desire, let it be there. But be aware of it. Don't repress it. Don't hide it. Repression is the foundation of the matrix. It is what keeps the robot running. When you repress something, you create a division in yourself. You become a split personality, and a split personality is easy to control. A whole person, a one-piece person, is a rebel. So be whole, be one piece. Bring everything into the light of awareness. Let your darkness be transformed into light. Let your sins be transformed into virtues through the fire of meditation. This is the only alchemy that exists. It is the transformation of the base metal of the ego into the gold of consciousness. The society will never understand this alchemy. It only knows how to police you. It only knows how to control you. But I am not interested in controlling you. I am interested in liberating you. I am not a teacher. I am a master. A teacher gives you information. A master gives you himself. He gives you a taste of freedom. He gives you a glimpse of the beyond. And once you have had that glimpse, you are no longer a slave. You are a king in the making. You are on the way to your own Buddhahood. The journey is long, but it is beautiful. Every step is a destination. Every moment is a fulfillment. Don't ask how long will it take. That is the question of the mind, the question of the achiever. There is nothing to achieve. You are already there. You just have to recognize it. You just have to wake up. It could happen in a single moment. It could happen right now as you are listening to these words. If you are totally here, if you are not thinking about the future or the past, if you are just a pure listening, then the miracle is already happening. The walls are already dissolving. The matrix is already fading away. Stay in this state as long as you can. Carry it with you into your life. Let it be the background of everything you do. This is the nowhere to go but in. And once you are in, you will find that the whole out is also in. The division between the inner and the outer was only a product of the mind. In the reality, there is only one existence, one consciousness, one dance, and you are that. Tat tum asi, that art thou. This is the ultimate truth. This is the ultimate freedom. Everything else is just a prison without walls. Bread the walls. Jump into the ocean. Be free. The path is before you. The door is open. The choice is yours. Will you stay in the comfortable misery of the asylum? Or will you take the leap into the unknown? I am waiting for you in the unknown. I am waiting for you in the light. Wake up, my beloved ones, wake up. And this waking up is not a one-time event. It is a continuous process of peeling the onion of your conditioning. You think you are a person, but if you look closely, you are nothing but a set of habits, a collection of mechanical responses. You are a robot. I call you a robot because a human being is someone who has the capacity to act, while a robot can only react. Look at your life. If someone pushes a certain button, you get angry. If someone pushes another button, you feel flattered. You don't choose your emotions. They are triggered by external circumstances. This is the definition of a machine. You have been programmed by the society, by the education system, and by the religions to function in a way that serves their interests, not yours. They have turned your intelligence into a servant of the collective ego. In the Book of Man, I have described various archetypes that represent this robotic state. One of the most pervasive is the victim. Most people are in love with their misery because it gives them a certain identity. If you take away their suffering, they won't know who they are. They complain about the matrix. They complain about the government. They complain about their wives or husbands. But they never take responsibility. To be a victim is to be a slave who enjoys his chains because they give him something to talk about. Responsibility is the most frightening thing for a robot because responsibility implies freedom, and freedom implies the unknown. The matrix survives on your fear of the unknown. It offers you a known misery in exchange for your soul. It tells you that it is better to be a miserable somebody than to be a blissful nobody. And you have accepted this bargain. You have become the slave. You think slavery is something that happened in the past with whips and chains. No. The most dangerous kind of slavery is the one where the slave thinks he is free. You are a psychological slave. You are a slave to your own mind, which is itself a slave to the collective madness. Consider your sexuality, for example. The society has turned man into a sexual maniac. How did this happen? By repression. For thousands of years, the priests have told you that sex is a sin. They have made you feel guilty about your most basic biological energy. And what happens when you repress an energy? It becomes a mania. It becomes an obsession. It goes into your head. A natural man thinks about sex only when the body requires it, just like hunger. But the matrix man thinks about sex 24 hours a day because it has been denied, poisoned, and judged. This obsession serves the matrix perfectly. A man who is sexually frustrated is an angry man. He is a competitive man. He is a man who can be easily manipulated into becoming a soldier or a greedy consumer. He is looking for a substitute for the joy he has lost. He looks for it in money, in power, in fame, but these are all plastic toys. They can never satisfy the hunger of the soul. And then there is the politician. Every human being in this robotic state has a politician hidden inside. This politician is the ego's ambition to dominate others. Because you feel empty inside, you want to fill that emptiness with power. You want to control others because you cannot control yourself. You want to lead others because you are lost. The politician is the beggar who has put on a crown. He is still a beggar. He is still empty. But now he has the power to make others miserable too. The world is currently run by these sexual maniacs and politicians. People who are profoundly sick and unconscious. They are the ones who decide the fate of humanity. And because they are robots, they can only move toward destruction. They can only create more prisons, more walls, more divisions. To step out of this, you must first recognize the robot within you. You must observe your mechanical habits. When you are walking, are you really walking? Or is the body just moving while the mind is wandering in the past? When you are talking, are you really saying something new? Or are you just repeating the same old tapes? When you feel love, is it a sharing of your abundance? Or is it just a slave looking for a master? Awareness is the only tool that can deprogram the robot. It is like a light that you bring into a dark room. You don't have to fight the darkness. The light itself is enough. As you become more aware, the mechanical responses begin to fall away. You find that you have a choice. For the first time, you can say no to the program. This no is the birth of the individual. The society hates individuals. It loves masses. It loves crowds because a crowd has no soul, no intelligence. A crowd can be led to the slaughterhouse with a few slogans and a flag. But an individual is a different matter. An individual has eyes. An individual has a heart. An individual cannot be forced to do something that goes against his own consciousness. This is why they have pruned your roots like those bonsai trees I mentioned. They wanted to make sure you never become an individual. They wanted to make sure you stay a part of the machine. They have taught you that sacrifice is the greatest virtue. Sacrifice for the family, sacrifice for the nation, sacrifice for the religion. But what they really mean is sacrifice your life so that the machine can keep running. I tell you, the only real virtue is to be yourself. The only real morality is to be conscious. If you are conscious, you cannot do harm. You don't need 10 commandments if you have one awareness. A man who is awake doesn't need a law to tell him not to kill. His very being is a benediction. But to reach this state, you must be willing to face the brutal truth. You must be willing to see that you have been a coward. You have chosen the prison because it was easy. You have chosen the chains because they were familiar. You have allowed the priests and the politicians to breathe for you, to think for you, to decide for you. You have been a victim by choice. Now the choice is to stop being a victim. The choice is to reclaim your life. This is what it means to be a rebel. My rebel is not a revolutionary who wants to change the government. My rebel is a man who has changed himself. He has walked out of the matrix. He has dropped the robot and discovered the Buddha. This transformation is not a social movement. It is an individual explosion. It happens in the silence of your own heart. It happens when you decide that enough is enough. When you decide that you are not going to live a borrowed life anymore. When you decide to be real, even if it means being alone. Remember, nowhere to go but in. All the answers are there. All the freedom is there. The matrix is a structure of the mind. When the mind is silent, the matrix disappears.
When the robot stops, the human begins.
And when the human is total, the divine appears. You are a bridge between the animal and the divine. But you have become stuck on the bridge. You have made the bridge your home. I am here to tell you, move. Don't stay on the bridge. The animal is behind you, and the divine is ahead of you. The robot is the state of being stuck. Awareness is the movement toward the stars. Don't be afraid of the height. Don't be afraid of the vastness. You are made of the same stuff as the stars. You are the universe itself trying to wake up. The matrix is just a bad dream that has lasted too long. It is time to open your eyes. It is time to see the world as it is, not as you have been taught to see it. Look at a tree. Don't look at it as a botanical specimen or as timber. Just look at it. Feel its greenness. Feel its silence. In that moment of pure seeing, you are out of the matrix. You are in direct contact with existence. Look at a child's eyes. Don't think about the future of the nation. Just see the innocence. In that seeing, your own innocence is revived. This is the secret of the new man. He is a man of meditation and a man of celebration. He is a Zorba the Buddha. He doesn't deny the world, but he is not enslaved by it. He enjoys the marketplace, but he keeps his silence intact. He is a master of the machine, not its servant. The world is at a crossroads. Either we continue as robots and destroy ourselves, or we take the leap into consciousness and create a new humanity. The old man is dead. He is just waiting for the funeral. The new man is waiting to be born, and he can only be born through you. Each one of you is a womb for the new man. But you must be willing to undergo the labor pains. You must be willing to let the old self die. This is the only way to the truth. This is the only way to freedom. Don't wait for a miracle. You are the miracle. Don't wait for a savior. You are the savior. Just drop the mask. Just stop the machine. Just be. The silence is calling you. The truth is calling you. Existence is waiting for you to come home. Don't let the matrix keep you away for even one more moment. Step out of the prison without walls. The whole sky is yours. The whole eternity is yours. Be a rebel. Be a Buddha. Be yourself. And if you decide to be yourself, you will find that the world is in a constant state of crisis. But I want to tell you a secret. Times of crisis are golden. Why? Because when everything is going smoothly, you can continue to sleep. When the house is comfortable, you don't think about what is outside. But when the house is on fire, you have to run, you have to wake up. The crisis forces you to move, to decide, to be. The madness of the world has reached its peak. We are living in a time where the mind of humanity is fragmenting. You see it everywhere, in the wars, in the senseless violence, in the growing number of people who are mentally ill. The society has created a schizophrenic human being. You are split. You have one face for your office, another for your wife, another for the club, and another for the church. You are not one person. You are a crowd of conflicting masks. And this constant tension of holding these masks together is what creates the crisis. But this fragmentation is also a great opportunity. When the old structure begins to crack, the light can enter. The matrix is failing because it has become too heavy, too complex, too insane. And in this failure, the new man can be born. This new man is what I call Zorba the Buddha. Up until now, humanity has been divided. On one side you have the Zorba, the man of the earth, the man who enjoys food, wine and dance, but who has no eyes for the beyond. He is a beautiful animal, but he is shallow. On the other side you have the Buddha, the man of the soul, the man of silence and meditation, but who has denied the earth. He has become a ghost, a dry vision without a sound. Both are incomplete, and an incomplete man is a miserable man. The Zorba is frustrated because he feels there must be something more than just the body. The Buddha is frustrated because he has suppressed his life energy, his roots. I want to bring them together. I want you to be a Zorba whose feet are firmly on the ground, who enjoys the sun and the rain, but whose head is high in the stars, in the silence of the eternal. Why choose? Why be a half human when you can be a whole? The matrix wants you to choose because a fragmented man is easier to control. If you are only a materialist, you can be controlled by greed. If you are only a spiritualist, you can be controlled by guilt and fear. But if you are a Zorba the Buddha, you are whole. And a whole man is a free man. To become whole, you must move beyond the psychology of the well-adjusted robot. You must move into the psychology of maturity. Most of you are not maturing, you are only aging. Aging is a biological process. Every animal ages. But maturity is a spiritual growth. It is the process of becoming more and more aware of your own aloneness, your own silence, and your own beauty. A mature man is one who has realized that there is nowhere to go but in. He has stopped looking for a father figure in the sky or a leader on the earth. He has taken his life into his own hands. He is content. And this contentment is the only real miracle. Not walking on water, not turning stones into bread. Those are just tricks for the crowds. The real miracle is to be content with yourself, exactly as you are, in this very moment. Contentment doesn't mean you stop growing. On the contrary, only a contented man can grow. A man who is frustrated is too busy trying to be someone else to ever grow into himself. Contentment is the soil, and awareness is the sun. When they come together, the bonsai tree of your life starts to grow into a giant cedar. But you are afraid of this growth because it requires you to drop all your dependencies. You have been taught to depend on the other, on the priest's blessing, on the politician's promise, on the society's approval. These are all crutches, and the crutches have become your prison. You think you cannot walk without them. I say, throw away the crutches. You have legs, you have wings, you just haven't used them because the robot program told you it was dangerous. Yes, it is dangerous. Freedom is dangerous. But danger is the only way to live. A life without danger is just a slow death. It is the safe life of the graveyard. I want you to be a warrior of the spirit. A warrior doesn't fight others. He fights his own unconsciousness. He fights the matrix within himself. He uses every crisis, every pain, every joy as a whetstone to sharpen his awareness. Look at the state of the world today. Everyone is talking about saving the planet, saving democracy, saving the economy, but nobody talks about saving themselves. And that is the only thing that can be saved. If you are not saved from your own madness, you will continue to destroy the planet, no matter what beautiful names you give to your actions. The crisis is in the human heart. We have developed a massive technology, but our consciousness is still that of a caveman, angry, fearful, and greedy. We are like children playing with loaded guns. This is the matrix at work. It gives you more and more ties while keeping you in a state of total unconsciousness. The only way out is an internal revolution, a revolution of the I. You must stop being a victim of your circumstances and become the creator of your reality. And the creation begins with silence. In Nowhere to Go But In, I have talked about how the words are a deception. You have become so caught up in the words God, freedom, peace, that you have lost the reality they represent. You are like a man who is starving and is trying to eat a cookbook. The cookbook has the recipes, it has the pictures, it has the descriptions, but it is not food. Your religions are cookbooks. Your philosophies are cookbooks. They are all borrowed knowledge. Drop the cookbooks. Go into the kitchen. Experience the fire. Experience the water. Experience the raw reality of your own being. This is what it means to go beyond psychology. Psychology studies the mind. Meditation transcends the mind. The mind is a circle. It always moves in the same patterns. Meditation is a vertical jump out of that circle. And don't wait for the right time. The right time is always now. The matrix tells you to wait for the future, to work for a better tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes. It is a carrot on a stick, held by the politicians to keep the donkeys moving. The only reality is this moment. If you can be silent right now, if you can be aware right now, you have already won. In this silence, you will find that the other is not your enemy. The division between me and you is part of the robot program. When you go deep enough into yourself, you find that there is only one consciousness. The same silence that is in me is in you. The same light that is in the sun is in your eyes. This realization is the end of all conflict. A man who has found himself can never be a part of a war. He can never be a part of a crowd that hates. He becomes a race apart, as some have called it. He is a new species. He is the new man. And the world needs this new man more than ever. We are at a point where the old man has to go. He has served his purpose. He has built the civilization. He has explored the earth. He has created the matrix. But now he has become a danger to himself and to life. He is too mechanical, too suicidal. The new man must take over. And the new man is not a better version of the old. He is a completely different dimension. The new man is a meditant. His actions are not based on reaction, they are based on his inner silence. He is a player. He doesn't take life as a serious struggle. He takes it as a lila, a play. He doesn't have a goal. He has a dance. He is a master, not a master of others, but a master of his own energy. You are all potential new men, but you are being held back by your own fear of the void. You are afraid that if you drop the robot, there will be nothing left. But that nothing is actually no thingness. It is the emptiness of a flute. Only an empty flute can play a song. If the flute is full of junk, it is just a piece of wood. You are a flute, but you are filled with the junk of the society. Empty yourself. This is the whole secret of the journey in. Throw out the knowledge, throw out the guilt, throw out the identities, become empty, and in that emptiness, the divine will sing through you. The matrix will have no more power over you, because there will be no ego for it to grab onto. You will be like the wind. You can't be caught. You will be like the sky. You can't be stained. You will be free. And this freedom is not a gift, it is a discovery. It is your birthright, but you have sold it for a mass of pottage, as the Bible says. You have sold it for a little security, for a little respectability, for a little comfort. It's time to buy it back, and the price is your unconsciousness. Give up your sleep and you can have the whole universe. The matrix is a prison, but the doors are made of your own consent. The moment you withdraw your consent, the doors vanish. The moment you say, I am no longer a part of this madness, you are free. Of course, the society will not like it. They will try to pull you back. They will use their 10 commandments and their social duties. But they can only pull you if you are still identified with your body and your mind. If you are a Zorba the Buddha, you can just laugh. Your laughter is the greatest weapon against the matrix. The matrix is very serious. It hates laughter. It hates joy. It hates anyone who is not miserable, because a miserable man is a serious man, and a serious man is a predictable man. A man who laughs from his soul is a mystery. He is uncontrollable. Be that mystery. Be that laughter. Be that joy. Don't listen to the sandmen who want you to stay in the asylum. They are just as crazy as everyone else. Listen to the call of the beyond. Listen to the silence of your own heart. It is telling you that you are much more than you have been taught. It is telling you that the prison walls are just an illusion. Walk through the walls. Step out into the light. The sun is waiting for you. The trees are waiting for you. The stars are waiting for you. Existence is waiting for its new man to arrive. Wake up, my beloved ones. The time of the robot is over. The time of the human has arrived. And the human is just a bridge to the divine. Cross the bridge. Don't look back. There is nothing but ashes behind you. Ahead of you is the whole glory of existence. This is the brutal truth. You are currently living in a hell of your own making. But the beautiful truth is you can walk out of it this very moment. You don't need a map. You don't need a savior. You don't need a technique. You only need awareness. Awareness is the key. Awareness is the path. Awareness is the goal. Be aware. Be conscious. Be alive. And then you will see that the earth is not an asylum. It is a temple. It is a place of celebration. It is a place where the divine comes to dance in a million different forms. Join the dance. Don't be a spectator. Don't be a judge. Be the dance. This is the only way to live. This is the only way to be free. In this state of Zorba the Buddha, the duality of the world disappears. You don't see the world as good and bad, sacred and profane. You see everything as a manifestation of the same energy. The rock is the divine in a deep sleep. The tree is the divine half awake. The human is the divine beginning to dream of itself. And the Buddha is the divine fully awake. You are at the threshold. You can choose to stay in the dream, or you can choose to wake up. The dream is comfortable, but it is a dream. The waking is challenging, but it is real. I am here to nudge you, to wake you, to shake you. I know you are having a nice dream, but the morning has come. The matrix is just a shadow of the night. As the sun of consciousness rises, the shadow will disappear. Don't be afraid of the light. It will not hurt you. It will only heal you. It will not take anything away from you except your chains. It will give you the whole sky. And when you are in the light, you will look back at the matrix and you will wonder, how did I ever believe in those walls? How did I ever think I was a prisoner? You will see that the prison was only as real as your belief in it. This is the ultimate secret. The prison is you, and the freedom is also you. You are the lock and you are the key. You are the prisoner and you are the guard. When you realize this, the whole game is over. You are free to be. And to be is the greatest bliss. Just to be, without any why, without any how, without any where. Just to be, here and now, a silent presence in a dancing universe. This is my message. This is my love. This is my vision for the new man. Be a rebel. Be an individual. Be a Jorba. Be a Buddha. But most of all, be yourself. Authenticity is the only religion. Consciousness is the only temple. Love is the only prayer. The world is waiting for you to wake up. Don't keep it waiting any longer. The matrix is already crumbling. Let it fall. Let it be destroyed. In its place, let a new humanity arise. A humanity that knows the beauty of silence and the joy of dance. A humanity that is no longer in an asylum, but in a garden. Wake up, my beloved ones. The dawn is here. And this dawn is not a promise for the future. It is the presence of the eternal now. You have been told that you must work hard to reach the light, that you must travel a long distance, that you must perform many rituals and follow many disciplines. This is the language of the mind. The mind can only understand the language of becoming. It doesn't know how to be. It says, tomorrow I will be happy. Tomorrow I will be free. Tomorrow I will be enlightened. But I tell you, tomorrow is a mirage. It is the fuel that keeps the matrix engine running. The matrix is built on the concept of time. It tells you that you are a history, that you are a story, that you have a past and you must have a future. But existence has no time. Existence is always in the present. Have you ever seen a tree that is worried about its yesterday? Have you ever seen a river that is anxious about its tomorrow? Only man lives in this tension. Only man has created the fiction of time to hide from the reality of the moment. When you drop the concept of time, the walls of the prison disappear. If there is no tomorrow, there is no fear. If there is no yesterday, there is no guilt. And without fear and guilt, how can the society control you? It can't. A man who lives in the now is a wildfire. He is unpredictable. He is dangerously alive. He cannot be bribed with a heaven in the future, and he cannot be threatened with a hell in the future. He is already here. He has already arrived. This is the secret of the master. A master is not someone who has more knowledge than you. In fact, a master has less knowledge than you. He has dropped all his knowledge. He is empty. He is just a window through which the sky is visible. When you come to a master, you are not coming to learn. You are coming to unlearn. You are coming to be infected with his silence. You are coming to catch his fire. The relationship between a master and a disciple is the only relationship in the world that is not part of the matrix. All other relationships are based on need, on attachment, on utility. You need a husband, you need a wife, you need a boss, you need a servant, but you don't need a master in the same way. The master is a luxury. He is a fragrance. You come to him not because you want something, but because you are tired of wanting. You come to him because you have realized that everything the world can give you is just more chains, and you are ready to be free. The master doesn't give you a new program. He simply deletes the old one. He is a great nothingness. And when you sit with him, when you look into his eyes, you start to feel your own nothingness. This is the resonance. This is the transmission beyond words. It is not something that can be explained by psychology. Psychology is the study of the prison. Spirituality is the experience of the open sky. In the matrix, you are always doing something. You are always busy. Even when you are relaxing, you are busy relaxing. You have made relaxation a goal, an achievement. I see people practicing relaxation with such tension on their faces. They are trying to attain peace. You cannot attain peace. Peace is not an object. Peace is the absence of the attainer. When the doer disappears, peace is. When the seeker stops, the truth is. Look at the Creator within you. The society has suppressed your creativity, because a creative person is always a rebel. Creativity means you are bringing something new into existence. You are not just a copy. You are not just a part of the assembly line. The matrix wants you to be a technician, a clerk, a cog in the wheel. It doesn't want you to be a creator. If you are a clerk, you are replaceable. If you are a technician, you are predictable. But a creator is a mystery. A creator is a channel for the divine. When a painter is totally lost in his painting, he is not there. The ego is absent. There is only the painting happening. When a dancer is totally lost in the dance, there is no dancer, there is only the dance. This absence of the ego is the most beautiful state possible. It is the state of meditation. I want you to make your whole life a creative act. Don't worry if you are not a professional artist. That is just another label. If you cook with love, if you walk with grace, if you listen with your whole heart, you are a creator. You are adding beauty to existence. You are making the world a little more vibrant, a little more alive. The new man is a creator. He doesn't want to conquer the world. He wants to celebrate the world. He doesn't want to dominate others. He wants to share his abundance. He is not interested in power because he has found his own potency. Power is always over others. Potency is your own inner strength, your own inner light. A man who has found his potency is a warrior of the spirit. This warrior doesn't fight against anyone. He fights for his own awareness. He is constantly alert, constantly watching the robot that tries to take over. When the old habits arise, he doesn't fight them. He simply shines the light of awareness on them. He says, "Aha, I see you. I see the old anger. I see the old jealousy. I see the old desire for approval." And in that seeing, the power of the habit is broken. It is like a shadow that disappears when you turn on the light. The matrix is a shadow. It is not real. It only appears real because you are standing in the darkness. The moment you step into the light of your own being, the matrix loses its grip. It cannot touch you. It can only touch your mind. It can only touch your ego. But you are neither the mind nor the ego. You are the awareness that knows them. This knowing is the ultimate beyond psychology. Psychology tries to analyze the content of the mind. It tries to figure out why you are angry, why you are sad, why you are afraid. It goes into your childhood, into your past, into your dreams. It is like trying to understand the nature of a prison by studying the graffiti on the walls. You can study the graffiti for 1,000 years but you will still be in prison. I say, forget the graffiti, forget the analysis, just look at the walls themselves. See that they are made of your own thoughts. See that they are maintained by your own belief. And then just stand up and walk through them. They are not made of smoke. The priests and the politicians will tell you that it's not that simple. They will tell you that you need a method, a process, a gradual evolution. Why do they say this? Because if it is simple, they are out of a job. If you can wake up in a single moment, you don't need the priest to guide you for 30 years. If you can be happy right now, you don't need the politician to promise you a great society in the future. They depend on your misery. They depend on your complexity. Truth is simple. Reality is simple. It is your mind that is complex. The mind loves complexity because it gives it something to do. It loves problems to solve. But life is not a problem. Life is a dance. You don't solve a dance, you participate in it. You don't understand a psalm, you listen to it. In Nowhere to Go But In, I have emphasized that understanding at the verbal level is a deception. You may have understood every word I have said, but if it hasn't changed your flavor, if it hasn't made you more silent, more joyful, more aware, then it is just more junk in your head. It is just more spiritual gossip. I am not here to give you more information. I am here to give you a transformation. I am here to shake you out of your verbal games. I want you to feel the reality behind the words. I want you to feel the silence from which these words are arising. That silence is the truth. That silence is the open door. Go into that silence as often as you can. When you are sitting in a bus, when you are waiting for a friend, when you are lying in bed, don't start the internal chatter. Just be silent. Just listen to the sounds around you without judging them. Just feel the life flowing through your body. This is the real in. This is the only way to break the matrix. The matrix is a chatterbox. It is a constant stream of news, of opinions, of theories, of gossip. It wants to keep your mind busy so that you never have a moment of silence. Because in silence, the robot dies. In silence, the Creator is born. In silence, you realize that you are already free. You are not a victim of the world. You are the world. You are not a separate piece of the puzzle. You are the whole puzzle. But you have become so small in your own eyes. You have allowed the society to define you. You have allowed the bonsai pruning to become your reality. I say, grow. Grow beyond the pot. Let your roots reach into the unknown. Let your branches touch the stars. Don't be afraid of the vastness. You are the vastness. Don't be afraid of the abyss. You are the abyss. When you jump into the abyss, you don't fall. You become the abyss. And the abyss is full of light. The master is just a person who has jumped and found that he has wings. He is standing at the edge, calling to you, jump. It's beautiful here. The air is fresh. The view is infinite. But you are standing at the edge, trembling, asking for a parachute, asking for a safety net, asking for a map. There is no map for the unknown. There is no safety net for the eternal. The only way to know is to jump. This jump is the leap from psychology to spirituality. It is the leap from the robot to the Buddha. And once you jump, you will see that there was never any danger. The danger was only in your mind. The fear was only a shadow. You will find yourself in a state of constant celebration. You will see that everything is exactly as it should be. The world is a perfect asylum, a perfect prison, and also a perfect temple. It all depends on your awareness. If you are asleep, it is an asylum. If you are struggling, it is a prison. If you are awake, it is a temple. The new man lives in the temple. He walks with grace. He speaks with truth. He loves without conditions. He is the fragrance of the beyond, and He is you. You are just wearing a dirty mask of the robot. You have just forgotten your own royalty. I am here to remind you. I am here to look into your eyes and say, I see the Buddha in you. Why are you acting like a slave? I see the king in you. Why are you begging for crumbs? Wake up. The dream has gone on long enough. The Matrix is just a movie. You can get up and leave the theater anytime you want. The exit is right here, in this very breath. The exit is in this very silence. Step out. Be free. Be whole. Be a Jhorba the Buddha. And then your life will be a song, a dance, a celebration that never ends. You will be a blessing to yourself and to the whole existence. You will be the truth. This is the only thing that matters. All the rest is just a prison without walls. Break the walls, jump into the light. I am with you. My love is with you. My silence is with you. Wake up, my beloved ones, wake up. And this waking up is the greatest rebellion you can ever participate in. But to remain awake, you must understand the weapon that the matrix uses to keep you in a state of slumber. Seriousness. Have you ever noticed that your religions, your governments, and your schools are all profoundly serious? They don't like laughter. They don't like playfulness. They want you to take life as a duty, as a struggle, as a heavy burden to be carried from the cradle to the grave. This seriousness is the glue that holds the walls of your prison together. A serious man is a predictable man. A serious man can be made to feel guilty. A serious man can be convinced to sacrifice his life for a flag, for a doctrine, or for a holy war. But a man who is playful, a man who sees life as a lila, a cosmic play, is a nightmare for the establishment. He cannot be controlled because he doesn't care about the stakes of the game. He is not playing to win. He is playing for the joy of the movement itself. In the Book of Man, I speak of two archetypes that are essential for your liberation: the warrior and the player. They may seem opposite, but in the new man, they meet and merge. The warrior is not someone who goes to the border to kill other human beings. That is not a warrior. That is just a paid murderer of the state. The real warrior is someone who has declared war on his own unconsciousness. He is a samurai of the soul. I remember the story of a Japanese soldier found in the jungle 13 years after the Second World War had ended. He was still fighting. He was still hiding, still waiting for the enemy, still living on roots and leaves. When he was told that the war was over and Japan had surrendered, he couldn't believe it. He said, "Japan can be destroyed, but it cannot be defeated." This man had a quality of the warrior, a total commitment, but his commitment was misdirected toward a political fiction. I want you to have that same intensity, that same do or die spirit, but directed inwards. The warrior in you must be alert. He must stand at the gates of your senses like a sentry. When a thought of the matrix tries to enter, a thought of greed, a thought of comparison, a thought of I am better than him, the warrior must be there to say, stop, I see you. This alertness is the sword of the samurai. It doesn't kill anyone, it simply cuts through the illusions. But the warrior alone can become too rigid, too hard. He can become like a monk who has repressed his life. That is why the warrior must be balanced by the player. The player knows that the world is a stage. He knows that the robot roles we play, the husband, the wife, the boss, the citizen, are just costumes. He wears them, he plays the part, but he never forgets who he is underneath. If you are a player, you don't get stressed by the matrix. How can you be stressed by a game? If you lose money, it's just a move in the game. If you are insulted, it's just a line in the script. You play your part totally, but you remain a witness. This is the synthesis I call Zorba the Buddha. Zorba is the player, and Buddha is the warrior of awareness. When they meet, you are no longer a victim of the matrix. You are a master of the dance. The matrix survives by making you feel that life is a problem that needs to be solved. And because you think it's a problem, you are always looking for a solution. You look for it in psychology, you look for it in philosophy, you look for it in the marketplace. But life is not a problem. It is a mystery to be lived. A problem has a solution, and once you find it, the problem is gone. But a mystery has no solution. The more you live it, the more mysterious it becomes. The robot loves problems because the mind thrives on them. The mind is a problem-solving machine. If there is no problem, the mind feels useless. So it creates problems. It creates the problem of how to be happy or how to find God. These are the most absurd problems in the world. You are happiness. You are the divine. How can you find what you already are? But the mind keeps you running in circles, looking for yourself in the eyes of others, in the mirrors of the society. Break the mirror. Stop being a seeker and start being a finder. And finding happens only when you stop seeking. When the mind is still, when the player is at rest, the truth reveals itself. It doesn't come from the outside. It wells up from the inside like a fountain. The society has taught you to be the victim. You blame your parents for your neurosis. You blame the government for your poverty. You blame the stars for your bad luck. This is the most convenient way to stay in prison. As long as you are a victim, you don't have to do anything. You can just sit and cry. But the moment you take responsibility, the walls of the prison start to shake. Responsibility doesn't mean guilt. The matrix wants you to feel guilty, but guilt is just another chain. Responsibility means the ability to respond. It means saying, I am the one who is creating my misery, and therefore I am the one who can create my bliss. This realization is the birth of the warrior. It is the end of the bonsai psychology. You are no longer waiting for someone to water you or prune you. You are reaching for the clouds on your own. And what a joy it is to stand on your own 2 feet, to walk without crutches, to breathe without the permission of the priest. This is what it means to go beyond psychology. You are no longer a patient trying to become normal. You have realized that normalcy is the disease. To be well adjusted to a sick society is to be sick yourself. I want you to be abnormal. I want you to be a freak in the eyes of the matrix, because only the freaks are free. Only the ones who have stepped out of the assembly line can see where the line is going. The assembly line is going toward a massive global graveyard. It is going toward a world of total automation, where the human soul is just an inconvenience. But you are not an inconvenience. You are the core of existence. You are the creator who has forgotten his own power. Look at the trees. They don't have a 10 commandments. They don't have a national anthem. They don't have a central bank. And yet look how beautiful they are. Look how they dance in the wind. Look how they share their shade with everyone without asking for a passport. This is the natural state. This is the state of the new man. The matrix is an artificial structure built over the natural world. It's like a plastic sheet covering a beautiful garden. You are under the plastic, gasping for air, thinking that the plastic is the sky. I am here to rip the plastic. I am here to show you the real sky. It might be cold at first. It might be overwhelming, but it is real. And one moment of reality is worth more than an eternity of plastic safety. People often ask me, Osho, if everyone becomes a rebel, if everyone becomes a Buddha, who will run the world? Who will do the work? This is the fear of the robot. The robot thinks that without the program, there will be chaos. But I tell you, there will not be chaos, there will be cosmos. In a world of Buddhas, work will not be a struggle for survival. It will be a sharing of creativity. If someone loves to garden, he will garden. If someone loves to build, he will build. Not because he is forced to, not because he needs a paycheck, but because it is his dance. The marketplace will still be there, but it will be a marketplace of lovers, not of competitors. But to reach that world, the old man must die. The sexual maniac, the politician, the slave, all these masks must be thrown into the fire. This fire is meditation. Meditation is the only alchemy that can transform the base metal of the robots into the gold of the Zorba the Buddha. And don't be afraid of the fire. The fire only burns what is false. It burns your names, your labels, your prejudices, your fears. It leaves behind your pure being. And your pure being is indestructible. It is part of the eternal flow. It was there before the sun was born, and it will be there after the last star has faded. You are living in a prison without walls, because the walls are inside your mind. You carry your prison wherever you go. You can go to the Himalayas, you can go to the moon, but if you carry the robot with you, you are still in prison. The only way out is in. Deep inside, there is a space that the matrix cannot reach. There is a silence that the noise of the world cannot disturb. There is a light that no darkness can extinguish. Find that space. Live in that space. That is your true home. That is the only reality. All the rest is just a matrix movie playing on the screen of your mind. Don't be a spectator of the movie. Be the light that projects it. And then you can turn off the projector whenever you want. You can step out of the theater and walk into the morning sun. The morning is here, my beloved ones. The birds are already singing. The flowers are already blooming. Don't stay in the dark theater arguing about the plot of a movie that doesn't exist. Wake up, open your eyes. The matrix is over. You are free. This freedom is not something to be achieved. It is something to be recognized. It is your very nature. You are born free, but you have been trained to be a slave. You have been taught that freedom is dangerous and that obedience is safety. But I tell you, obedience to a mad society is the ultimate danger. It is a slow suicide. Be a warrior of your own life. Be a player of the cosmic game. Don't let the politicians of the soul tell you how to feel or how to pray. Your heart is the only temple. Your awareness is the only scripture. Your laughter is the only prayer. When you laugh, the matrix trembles. When you dance, the walls of the prison start to crumble. When you love, the robot dies. So laugh more, dance more, love more. Don't be serious. Seriousness is a spiritual sickness. Be light, be playful, be like a child playing on the seesaw. The whole existence is with you. It is supporting your awakening. The trees are waiting for you to see them. The stars are waiting for you to hear them. The divine is waiting for you to recognize yourself. Don't keep the universe waiting any longer. Step out of the matrix and into the Leela. Step out of the psychology and into the silence. Step out of the asylum and into the garden. You are the new man. You are the hope of the world. You are the Zorba the Buddha. This is my message to you. This is my vision. And this is my invitation. The door is open. The sun is shining. The wind is calling your name. Will you stay in the dark or will you walk into the light? The choice is yours. And it is always now. Be aware, be conscious, be free. And remember, the brutal truth is only brutal to the robot. To the Buddha, the truth is the most beautiful music in the existence. It is the song of your own soul. Listen to that song and let it lead you home. The prison is gone. The walls have vanished. You are the whole sky. Fly, my beloved ones, fly. This is the moment of the great transition. We have traveled through the dark corridors of the human asylum. We have looked at the bonsai roots of our conditioning, and we have seen the robot that has been masquerading as our soul. But now we come to the most crucial point of all, the actual exit. The brutal truth has shattered your illusions, and now the beautiful truth must give you wings. I see you standing there at the threshold of the unknown. You are trembling, and it is good that you are trembling. It means you are alive. It means the robot program is failing. The mind wants to stay in the familiar hell of the matrix, but the heart is pulling you toward the infinite sky. This tension is the birth pang of the new man. This is the moment where you decide whether you will remain a victim of history or become a creator of your own destiny. If you feel this fire burning in your heart, if you realize that these words are not just information, but a call to your sleeping soul, then you must stay connected to this frequency of awakening. Don't let the matrix pull you back into the slumber of the marketplace. Subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell. This is not for me, I have nothing to gain. It is for you, so that every time the robot tries to take over, a voice can reach out and shake you back into awareness. Like this video to help it bypass the algorithms of the sleeping world, and share it with those you know who are also gasping for air in the invisible prison. Every share is a crack in the walls of the matrix. My beloved ones, the prison without walls is only as strong as your unconsciousness. The moment you become a total witness, the walls simply evaporate. But I know the journey in can be challenging. The mind is a master of deception. It will give you 1,000 reasons to turn back. To help you navigate this internal landscape, we have prepared a special guide for the warrior in you. You can find our ebook, The Hidden Energy Protocol, Reclaim Your God Modes, in the video description. This is not just a book, it is a map for the Zorba the Buddha, who is ready to reclaim his divine heritage. It will help you see the energy patterns of the matrix and teach you how to remain centered in your own God modes, the state of pure, unconditioned consciousness. For those of you who feel a deep call to support this work and want to become a part of our inner circle, you can click the join button on the official YouTube interface. By becoming a member, you help us keep this flame alive in a world that is desperately trying to extinguish it. Your support through super thanks is also a beautiful gesture of gratitude that allows us to reach more seekers and continue this mission of global awakening. When you give, you are not just supporting a channel, you are participating in the creation of the new man. Now listen to me very carefully. The journey from the alone to the alone is nearing its climax. You have been a slave to your habits, a beggar for love, and a politician of the ego. You have been aging without maturing. But today you can drop it all. You can step into the God mode that has been waiting for you since eternity. What is this God mode? It is not becoming a God in the sense of the religious fictions. It is the realization that you are the divine consciousness, experiencing itself through a human form. It is the end of the robot and the beginning of the Buddha. When you are in this state, you don't react, you act out of your silence. You don't seek happiness, you are the bliss. You don't fear death because you have found that which is immortal. The matrix wants you to think that this is a difficult achievement. It wants you to think you need to go to a monastery or sit in a cave for 20 years. No, the exit is right here, in the middle of the marketplace. When you are walking to your office, be a Buddha. When you are washing the dishes, be a Buddha. When you are making love, be a Buddha. This is the synthesis of Zorba and Buddha. This is the nowhere to go but in its most practical form. The warrior in you must be relentless. Don't give the robot an inch. The moment you catch yourself complaining, stop. The moment you catch yourself judging, stop. The moment you catch yourself living in the future, come back to the now. This is the warrior's discipline. It is a war of light against darkness, of awareness against sleep. And in this war, the only weapon you need is your third eye, your capacity to watch. Watch the mind like a stranger. Don't be the mind. The mind is a biological computer. It is a tool. Use it, but don't let it use you. The matrix is just a set of instructions fed into this computer. When you watch the computer, you are no longer identified with the software. You are the user. You are the presence. This presence is the only thing that can save the world. We don't need more politicians. We don't need more priests. We don't need more scientists who are robots themselves. We need meditants. We need people who are whole. A whole person is a healing presence. When a whole person walks into a room, the quality of the room changes. When a whole person looks at a tree, the tree feels seen. You have been a bonsai for too long. You have allowed your roots to be pruned by the society's expectations. But now you are realizing that you are not a potted plant. You are a cosmic event. You have the right to grow as tall as you want. You have the right to touch the very heart of existence. The only thing standing in your way is your own consent to be small. Withdraw your consent. Say no to the robot. Say yes to the divine. This yes is the most revolutionary act possible. It is the great rebellion. And it starts with self-love. The matrix has taught you to hate yourself, to judge yourself, to feel unworthy. Why? Because a man who loves himself cannot be a slave. A man who is content with his own being is the greatest danger to the politicians and the priests. Love yourself, respect yourself, celebrate yourself. You are a masterpiece of existence. You are a unique expression of the eternal. There has never been anyone like you, and there will never be anyone like you again. Don't try to be a copy of someone else. Don't try to be a saint or a hero. Just be yourself. That is the highest God mode possible. In the book of man, I have described the master. A master is one who has realized his own mastery over his own energy. He is not a master of others. He is simply a mirror. When you look into a master, you see your own potential. You see that if he can be free, you can be free too. I am your mirror. I am showing you your own Buddhahood. I am showing you that the matrix is just a shadow and you are the sun. But don't make me a new God. Don't make me a new commandment. If you start following me, you are just building a new prison. Listen to my words, but follow your own heart. Use my silence as a support, but find your own silence. The real master is within you. I am just a catalyst to wake him up. As we conclude this discourse, I want you to take a deep breath. Feel the air entering your lungs. That air is the universe breathing through you. Feel your heart beating. That heartbeat is the pulse of the cosmos. You are not separate. You are not a victim. You are an organic part of this whole beautiful dancing existence. The matrix is a lie. The asylum is an illusion. The prison is a dream. Wake up, my beloved ones. The morning has arrived. The sun is high in the sky. The flowers are waiting for your touch. The stars are waiting for your song. Step out of the theater. Leave the robot behind. Walk into the garden of reality. Be a Zorba the Buddha. Live totally. Love fiercely and meditate deeply. This is the only way to fulfill your destiny. This is the only way to be free. Don't forget to check the description for our ebook, The Hidden Energy Protocol. Reclaim your God mode to help you stabilize this awakening in your daily life. And if you want to support this rebellion, use the join button or the super thanks feature. Every bit of support helps us reach one more soul trapped in the matrix. I am leaving you with my love and my silence. Carry it with you. Let it be your protection against the sandman of the society. Let it be the light that guides you home. Nowhere to go but in. Nothing to be but yourself. No time to live but now. Be free, be whole, be a Buddha. Goodbye, my beloved ones. I will see you in the silence.